Hello everybody. After completing the glycolysis part, now I will move into the Krebs cycle to explain it in detail. So this is part of the syllabus of BSc Geology Honours Part 3, but also this is helpful for the MSc 2 students, because I have seen in the new syllabus that glycolysis is there, electron transport chain is there, oxidative phosphorylation is also there, but the missing link was Krebs cycle, because the energy harvesting process goes through like this: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain, and then oxidative phosphorylation. So this MSc students should also know about this. Now coming to the topic directly, in the last lecture where I finished glycolysis, the end product was the pyruvate, okay, and the starting material, or because this Krebs cycle is a closed cycle, but there is an input of material in the fuel form, which is acetyl coenzyme A. Coenzyme A is a factor, but the acetyl group attached to the coenzyme A is coming from the pyruvate, and the acetyl coenzyme A is 2 carbon compound, 2 carbon moiety in that compound. So where does 1 carbon go? Because pyruvate contains 3 carbon and the acetyl group, the moiety in the coenzyme A is having 2 carbon. So here comes the role. This is the process of oxidation of pyruvate, which is a very important step, and this is a rate limiting step. It regulates the Krebs cycle. It has the ability to regulate the Krebs cycle. And one important point is that the coenzyme A is a type of vitamin, essential vitamin B5. If the person lacks this vitamin, then there is a question for the survival of that person, because this is a very important step in the energy harvesting. So, and pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, the enzyme responsible for the oxidation of pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A, is also very important. This is a very big enzymatic complex containing more than 60 subunits, and that enzyme regulates the Krebs cycle also, because that is the starting point. Because the fuel for the Krebs cycle, that is acetyl coenzyme A, is heavily dependent upon, or you can say totally dependent upon, the activity of pyruvate dehydrogenase. Now I am coming to the topic directly, where I will describe about the oxidation of pyruvate into acetyl coenzyme A. So among the 4 stages of cellular respiration, the pyruvate oxidation is a kind of the odd one out. It is relatively short in comparison to the extensive pathways of glycolysis or the citric acid cycle, but that doesn't make it unimportant. On the contrary, pyruvate oxidation is a key connector that links glycolysis to the rest of cellular respiration. At the end of glycolysis, as I have already mentioned, that we have 2 pyruvate molecules that still contain lots of extractable energy. Pyruvate oxidation is the next step in capturing the remaining energy in the form of ATP. Although no ATP is made directly during the pyruvate, but I will come to that point, that one NADH is produced here and one CO2 molecule goes out. So pyruvate, the 3 carbon compound, in the presence of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex enzyme and the cofactor like coenzyme A, pyruvate binds with the coenzyme A and one CO2 goes out, and in this there is a reduction of NAD plus to NADH, and there is a result of acetyl production of acetyl coenzyme A compound. Okay, the acetyl moiety of this compound comes from the pyruvate, that is a 2 carbon compound, and it is attached to the coenzyme A. So coenzyme A works here as a vehicle to carry the acetyl group into the Krebs cycle, where it can bind with the oxaloacetate. Here you can see, this is oxaloacetate, 4 carbon compound. This is the acetyl group shown in pink color here. It can bind with the oxaloacetate to produce citrate molecule, which is a 6 carbon compound. Okay, so now let us see One important point here is that in eukaryote this step takes place in the matrix of mitochondria. In prokaryotes, it happens in the cytoplasm. Overall, pyruvate oxidation converts pyruvate, a 3-carbon molecule, into acetyl coenzyme A 2-carbon molecule attached to the coenzyme A. I have already explained it to you, producing a NADH and releasing 1 carbon dioxide molecule in the process. Acetyl coenzyme A acts as a fuel for the citric acid cycle in the next stages of cellular respiration. So the pyruvate oxidation steps occurs through the 3 different steps. I am going to mention these 3 steps. So pyruvate is produced by the glycolysis in the cytoplasm, but pyruvate oxidation takes place in the mitochondrial matrix in eukaryote. So before the chemical reactions can begin, pyruvate must enter the mitochondrion, crossing its inner membrane and arriving at the matrix. So my pyruvate should go in the journey from the cytoplasm to the inner mitochondrial matrix for this oxidation of the pyruvate into acetyl coenzyme A, because the Krebs cycle is also happening in the matrix. In the matrix, pyruvate is modified in a series of steps. First step is a carboxyl group is removed from the pyruvate. Okay, and in the second step, NAD plus is reduced to NADH. And in the third step, an acetyl group is transferred to coenzyme A, resulting in acetyl coenzyme A. So here so now I am coming to this enzyme which is responsible for this oxidation of pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A. The name of that enzyme this is a very large enzyme complex. Name of the enzyme is pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, which consists of 3 interconnected enzymes and includes over 60 subunits. At a couple of stages, the reaction intermediates actually form covalent bonds to the enzyme complex, or more specifically to its cofactors. The pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is an important target for regulation, as it controls the amount of acetyl coenzyme A fed into the citric acid cycle. If we consider the 2 pyruvates that enter from glycolysis for each glucose molecule, we can summarize pyruvate oxidation reaction, where you can say that 2 molecules of pyruvate are converted into 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A. 2 carbons are released as carbon dioxides out of 6 originally present in the glucose, and 2 NADH are generated from NAD+. So why make acetyl coenzyme A? Acetyl coenzyme A serves as a fuel for the citric acid cycle in the next stage of the cellular respiration. Okay, the addition of coenzyme A helps activate the acetyl group, preparing it to undergo the necessary reactions to enter the citric acid cycle. So here I have described about how pyruvate is getting ready to enter into the Krebs cycle. So this is the procedure where pyruvate is oxidized. So I will take the help of a book Lehninger's Principles of Biochemistry now, and then we'll explain this citric acid cycle. Till now I have explained only this, the preparation of acetyl coenzyme A, which is not mentioned here in the figure, the preparation, or it is prepared from pyruvate by the oxidation process. So now this is the fuel or entry molecule into the Krebs cycle. So these are the reactions of, I am going to explain the reactions of the citric acid cycle. I am sorry about the delay. Many more settings needs to be done. Okay, so we are now ready to trace the process by which acetyl coenzyme A, I'm directly reading from the book so that I can make the video short, because this is a very large process and there are many more steps into it. So we are now ready to trace the process by which acetyl coenzyme A undergoes oxidation. This chemical transformation is carried out by the citric acid cycle. The first cyclic pathway we have encountered in figure number this one, that figure will come in the next section. To begin a turn of the cycle, acetyl coenzyme A donates its acetyl group to the 4-carbon compound oxaloacetate to form the 6-carbon citrate. Citrate is then transformed into isocitrate, also a 6-carbon molecule, which is dehydrogenated with the loss of CO2 to yield the 5-carbon compound, that is alpha ketoglutarate, also called oxoglutarate. Then alpha ketoglutarate undergoes loss of a second molecule of the CO2 and ultimately yields the 4-carbon compound succinate. Succinate is then enzymatically converted in 3 steps into the 4-carbon oxaloacetate, which is then ready to react with another molecule of acetyl coenzyme. This section is explaining in short about the TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle. In each turn of the cycle, one acetyl coenzyme A, that is 2-carbon, enters as acetyl coenzyme A and the two molecules of CO2 leave. One molecule of oxaloacetate is used to form citrate and one molecule of oxaloacetate is regenerated. So there is no net total loss of oxaloacetate in this process. So no net removal of oxaloacetate occurs. One molecule of oxaloacetate can theoretically bring about oxidation of an infinite number of acetyl groups, because there is no net loss. And in fact, oxaloacetate is present in cells in very low concentrations. Because of this, 4 of the 8 steps in the process are oxidations, in which the energy of oxidation is very efficiently conserved in the form of the reduced coenzymes NADH and FADH2. As noted earlier, although the citric acid cycle is central to energy yielding metabolism, its role is not limited to energy conservation. 4 and 5 carbon intermediates of the cycle serve as precursors for a wide variety of products. To replace intermediates removed for this purpose, cell employs anaplerotic or replenishing reactions, which are described below. So we will not go into the detail of those reactions, the replenishing reactions, because that is not in your syllabus. If you have interest, you can refer this principle of biochemistry. Eugene Kennedy and Albert Leininger showed in 1948 that in eukaryotes, the entire set of reactions of the citric acid cycle takes place in mitochondria. Isolated mitochondria were found to obtain not only all the enzymes and coenzymes required for the citric acid cycle, but also all the enzymes and proteins necessary for the last stage of the respiration, electron transfer, and ATP synthesis by oxidative phosphorylation. As we shall see in the later chapters, mitochondria also contain the enzymes for the oxidation of fatty acids and some amino acids to acetyl coenzyme A, and the oxidation degradation of other amino acids to alpha ketoglutarate, succinyl coenzyme A, or oxaloacetate. Thus, in non-photosynthetic eukaryotes, the mitochondrion is the site of most energy yielding oxidative reactions and of the coupled synthesis of ATP in photosynthetic eukaryotes. Mitochondria are the major site of ATP production in the dark, but in daylight chloroplasts produce most of the organisms ATP in case of plants. In most prokaryotes, the enzymes of the citric acid cycle are in the cytosol, and the plasma membrane plays a role analogous to that of the inner mitochondrial membrane in ATP synthesis. Now I will come into the detail of the steps of citric acid cycle. There are 8 steps in this cycle. First is, in the examining the 8 successive reaction steps of the citric acid cycle, we place special emphasis on the chemical transformations taking place as citrate formed from acetyl coenzyme A and oxaloacetate is oxidized to yield CO2, and the energy of this oxidation is conserved in the reduced coenzymes NADH and FADH2. So this is in detail, not required for BSc syllabus. Only you need to memorize this cyclic pathway. So I will help you in this. So oxaloacetate binds with acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, so one H2O molecule is getting consumed here, but coenzyme A is released and the acetyl group is transferred to oxaloacetate. Here you can see this pink one is the acetyl group is transferred to the oxaloacetate group compound, and the citrate is formed, and this citrate is 6-carbon compound. The enzyme responsible for this is, and you should also remember the name of the enzyme, citric synthase is the name of the enzyme. So this enzyme, and then this citrate is then get dehydrated. One H2O molecule comes out and there is a formation of cis-aconitate. This is the structure of cis-aconitate. This is again a 6-carbon compound, and one H2O molecule is consumed. Again this is isocitrate, the formation of isocitrate. This is also a 6-carbon compound, and the enzyme responsible for this is again aconitase, and this is the isocitrate. Okay, so isocitrate then gets converted into alpha ketoglutarate with the help of enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase and the production of and the release of one CO2 molecule here. And in this process, one NADH molecule is produced, or you can say one NAD plus is reduced. So this is a gain. Then this alpha ketoglutarate is a 5-carbon compound. You can see here this, and the acetyl group is still intact. The carbon, this CO2, the carbon of CO2 comes out from the cyclic, this the carbon molecules, carbon atoms which are going in the cyclic fashion. Okay, this carbon is not coming from this acetyl group. Point to be noted here. And one NADH is produced here. In the next step, and the enzyme responsible for this is isocitrate dehydrogenase. And in the next step, alpha ketoglutarate is, when reacted with the coenzyme A, again here the role of coenzyme A comes into the action, and the enzyme responsible for this is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex, and this alpha ketoglutarate binds with coenzyme A. This is oxidative decarboxylation. Here again one CO2 molecule comes out. This one was also oxidative decarboxylation. So one CO2 molecule comes out. Again this carbon of this CO2 is from the carbon which are running in the cyclic fashion, not from the acetyl group. So the production of succinyl coenzyme A takes place, and in this reaction also one NAD plus is getting reduced and the formation of NADH takes place. So the succinyl coenzyme A is then getting converted into succinate with the help of enzyme succinyl coenzyme synthase. So this is succinyl coenzyme synthase, and the production of one GTP molecule takes place. Later this GTP molecule gets dephosphorylated, and phosphate group from GTP gets transferred to ADP, and then ATP production takes place. So in this reaction, this is also an important reaction where one ATP, or you can say here you can see that the one GTP molecule is produced, but in net total you can say that one ATP is gained over here. So here one inorganic phosphate combines with GDP to form GTP, and then the phosphate group from GTP gets transferred to ADP, and then ATP formation takes place. This is a substrate level phosphorylation. An enzyme responsible for this is succinyl coenzyme synthetase. And succinyl coenzyme is synthetase. And then there is production of succinate molecule, succinate compound, and coenzyme A comes out. Now succinate goes under dehydrogenation reaction with the help of succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, and one FADH2 molecule is produced from FAD, and FADH2, the FAD gets reduced into FADH2. So this is the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase, and the product is fumarate. Now fumarate goes under the hydration reaction. One H2O molecule adds up here, and enzyme is called as fumarase, and there is the product is malate. It is malate. And malate goes under dehydrogenation reaction to form oxaloacetate, which is the first precursor of the citric acid cycle. And in this reaction there is again gain of one NADH molecule from NAD plus, or you can say NAD plus gets reduced into NADH, and then this oxaloacetate is again ready to accept acetyl coenzyme A, or you can say acetyl group of the coenzyme A, and in this fashion the cycle goes on continuation in a cyclic fashion, and it goes on and goes on and goes on. Every time one acetyl group is being added over here. Okay. So now here I am ending this Krebs cycle part of the lecture. Hope you have got it. Thanks a lot.